Some cries for help aren't what they seem, and answering them might cost you everything. A storm was tearing through the town of Ashwood that night, a ferocious tempest that rattled the windows and drowned the streets in rain. Amelia sat curled up in her living room, a book balanced on her lap, and a cup of tea steaming on the table beside her. The flickering light of the television added to the cozy atmosphere, contrasting sharply with the chaos outside. Her parents, Marla and Rick, were in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner, their voices a faint murmur over the sound of the storm. Upstairs, her younger brother Tyler was undoubtedly glued to his video games, headphones blocking out the world. Amelia loved storms like this. They made her feel alive, a thrilling reminder of nature's power. But that comfort shattered when an ear-splitting bang reverberated through the house. She jolted upright, her heart racing. The sound had come from the window behind her. Slowly, Amelia turned her head. Rain streaked the glass, distorting the view outside, but she could just make out a figure. A man, pale and wild-eyed, hammering at the window with his fists. He was screaming, but the storm muffled his words. Fear rooted her in place. The man's face was desperate, his movements frantic. Summoning her courage, Amelia cracked the window open, just enough to hear him over the rain. "Please, let me in," he begged, his voice hoarse and trembling. "I'm hurt. They're after me." Amelia hesitated. There was blood on his shirt, streaked across his chest, and he clutched his side as if nursing a wound. The rational part of her mind screamed to shut the window and call the police, but his terror was infectious. "Who's after you?" she demanded, her voice shaky. "No time, please," he shouted, pounding the glass again. "They're coming!" Amelia's parents appeared in the doorway, alarm etched on their faces. Rick immediately took charge. "What's going on?" he asked, striding toward the window. "There's a man out there," Amelia stammered. "He says he's hurt, and someone's after him." Rick peered through the rain-streaked glass. The man's pleas grew more frantic. "We have to let him in," Marla said, though her voice wavered with uncertainty. But Rick hesitated. "We don't know who he is," he said, "or what he's running from." Before they could decide, the phone rang, its shrill tone cutting through the tension. Marla grabbed it, her face paling as she listened to the caller. When she hung up, her voice was barely above a whisper. "That was the Bennetts next door. They said there's someone dangerous on the loose. He's been breaking into houses." The man outside banged on the window again, harder this time. "You're making a mistake," he screamed. "Please!" Rick backed away, shaking his head. "We're calling the police. That's it." He pulled out his phone and dialed, but the man outside grew more desperate. He began slamming his shoulder into the window, his bloodied face twisted with fury. "Don't you understand?" he yelled. "If you don't let me in, they'll kill me." The glass shuddered under his weight. Amelia's stomach churned with fear and doubt. Was he lying? Or was there truly something worse out there, hunting him? The sound of sirens wailed faintly in the distance, growing louder as the minutes dragged on. Rick stood at the door, armed with a baseball bat, while Marla hovered near Amelia, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. They all watched as the man outside staggered backward, his shoulders slumping in defeat. For a moment, it seemed like he might give up. But then Amelia spotted something beyond him, a shadowy figure moving through the storm, her breath caught in her throat. "Dad," she whispered, "there's someone else out there." Rick turned, his eyes narrowing as he squinted through the rain. The figure drew closer, and then another appeared, and another. 3 people dressed in dark clothing and moving with a predatory grace emerged from the shadows. The man at the window saw them too. His eyes widened in terror. "You see?" he cried. "They're here. Please, I'm begging you." Marla gasped. "Oh my God. Rick, do something." But Rick was frozen, torn between protecting his family and the possibility that they might be letting a threat into their home. The figures outside moved closer, their faces obscured by the rain. One of them raised something, a crowbar, and smashed it against the side of the house. The sound reverberated like a gunshot. Panic erupted. Rick yelled for everyone to get back. The man at the window pounded harder, blood smearing the glass. "Let me in! They'll kill us all!" Amelia made a split-second decision. She grabbed the latch and threw open the window. The man scrambled inside, collapsing onto the floor. Rick slammed the window shut just as one of the intruders reached it, their face inches from the glass. It was a woman, her eyes cold and feral. She snarled, her breath fogging the window. "You shouldn't have done that," she hissed, her voice muffled but chilling. The intruders didn't leave. They circled the house like wolves, testing doors and windows, their dark silhouettes haunting every corner of the home. The man, still clutching his side, looked up at Amelia with gratitude and fear. "You saved my life," he said, his voice weak. "Who are they?" she demanded. "Bad people," he said. "I got away from them. They want me dead because I know too much." Rick wasn't buying it. "And how do we know you're not one of them?" "Because they're trying to kill me," the man snapped. The power flickered, then went out, plunging the house into darkness. The only light came from the occasional flash of lightning, illuminating the intruders as they continued their siege. Amelia's heart pounded in her chest as she huddled with her family and the stranger in the living room. Then came the sound of glass shattering. One of them had broken in. Rick swung his bat as a dark figure lunged into the room, knocking over a lamp. The stranger pulled a knife from his pocket and joined the fray, fighting with the desperation of a man with nothing to lose. Chaos erupted as the intruders swarmed the house, but the wail of sirens grew louder and closer. The police arrived just in time. Flashlights and shouted commands filled the air as the intruders scattered into the storm. Two were caught, the third disappearing into the night. The man slumped against the wall, his shirt soaked with blood, but his expression one of relief. By morning, the storm had passed, leaving the house in shambles, but the family safe. The man, who introduced himself as Eric, was taken to the hospital under police custody. It turned out he had been involved in a criminal operation, but he had turned informant and was on the run from his former associates. Amelia couldn't shake the image of those intruders, their predatory movements and chilling eyes. She knew she'd never feel entirely safe again, not in Ashwood, not anywhere. What would you have done in Amelia's place? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Stay safe out there. You never know who might be watching.